Did former President Barack Obama call a meeting of the UN Security Council without inviting U.S. officials? No, that's not true. The story was published by a liberal satire website that tries to mislead Trump supporters and Republicans into sharing made-up stories that are clearly marked as satire when you actually click them. Articles from the site are frequently copied by foreign-run fake news websites, which happened almost immediately with this one too. The people liking and sharing these stories are enriching foreign website operators or a liberal from Maine via the ad revenue generated with the content, which is probably not what they expected or wanted. The story originated from an article published by Obama Watcher on December 9, 2019 titled, "Obama Calls UN Security Meeting, U.S. Officials Not Invited," which opened, quote, "The United Nations held a secret meeting of the Security Council today called by former U.S. President Barack Obama. The Council, which is bound by law and treaty to meet only with official members of the U.S. government, released a statement. The Security Committee met today with our old friend Barack for falafel and beers. It was not an official meeting. There was nothing recorded and no official business discussed. We asked him here because we, quite frankly, miss intelligent conversation with American statesmen. It's been a while. The meeting may not have been official, but our source on the inside says they are definitely discussing official business." End quote. Users on social media only saw this title, description and thumbnail. Quote, "Obama calls UN security meeting, U.S. officials not invited. The truth is right there in front of you." End quote. The story was originally published in a category named Spooky Deep State Fan Fiction, and the words "source on the inside" linked to a picture of Barron Trump named Barron Has a Good Day Whatever. JPG. The picture of the supposed Security Council meeting was actually taken at a climate conference in 2009. Quote, "Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. JPG. Indian Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, Blue, and Indian Minister of Environment and Forests Jairam Ramesh behind during a multilateral meeting with U.S. President Barack Obama, Chinese Premier Wen Jiabao, Brazilian President Lula da Silva and South African President Jacob Zuma during the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Copenhagen, Denmark, DEC." End quote. The site is part of the America's Last Line of Defense network of satire websites run by self-professed liberal troll Christopher Blair from Maine along with a loose confederation of friends and allies. Blair has been in a feud with fact-checking website Snopes for some time now and has also criticized other fact-checkers in the past who labeled his work fake news instead of satire. In reaction to this, he has recently rebranded all his active websites and Facebook pages so they carry extremely visible disclaimers everywhere. Every site in the network has an About page that reads, in part, quote, "About satire before you complain and decide satire is synonymous with comedy. Satire sati are noun the use of humor, irony, exaggeration, or ridicule to expose and criticize people's stupidity or vices, particularly in the context of contemporary politics and other topical issues. Everything on this website is fiction. It is not a lie and it is not fake news because it is not real. If you believe that it is real, you should have your head examined. Any similarities between this site's pure fantasy and actual people, places, and events are purely coincidental and all images should be considered altered and satirical. See above if you're still having an issue with that satire thing." End quote. Articles from Blair's sites frequently get copied by real fake news sites who often omit the satire disclaimer and any other hints the stories are fake. Blair has tried to get these sites shut down in the past but new ones keep cropping up. Here is a video of Blair explaining how his process works. If you are interested in learning more about Blair and the history of his sites, here is something to get you started. Quote, "The ultimate Christopher Blair and America's Last Line of Defense reading list, lead stories story updated, check for updates below." Yesterday Eli Saslow at The Washington Post wrote a fantastic article about Christopher Blair, a man from Maine who has been trolling conservatives and Trump supporters online for years and occasionally even made a living out of it. End quote. If you see one of his stories on a site that does not contain a satire disclaimer, assume it is fake news. If you do see the satire disclaimer, it is of course also fake news. NewsGuard, a company that uses trained journalists to rank the reliability of websites, describes ObamaWatcher.com as Quote,